For most of the world, Greenland looks empty. A frozen land of ice, snow, and silence. A place far away from power, far away from conflict. But behind that ice, Greenland is one of the most wanted pieces of land on Earth, and today it is at the center of a growing global tension. In recent statements that shocked allies and rivals alike, U.S. President Donald Trump once again made it clear: the United States wants Greenland. And this time, the tone feels different, more serious, more aggressive, more dangerous. So the question is simple: why does the most powerful country on Earth want this frozen island so badly? And what happens if the world says no? This is the story of Greenland, and why it may decide the future of global power. Greenland is the largest island in the world. It sits between North America and Europe, deep in the Arctic Circle. It belongs to the Kingdom of Denmark, but it governs itself in many ways. Only about 57,000 people live there. Most are Inuit. They have lived on this land for thousands of years. But while the population is small, the land itself is enormous, and its location is priceless. If you control Greenland, you control a gateway between continents. You control Arctic air routes. You control future shipping lanes. And you gain a front-row seat to the new Cold War forming in the Arctic. That is why Greenland has never been ignored by powerful nations. The United States has wanted Greenland for a long time. In 1946, just after World War II, the U.S. secretly offered Denmark a massive amount of money in gold to buy the island. Denmark refused. During the Cold War, the U.S. didn't buy Greenland, but it moved in anyway. American military bases were built on the island. Radar systems were installed to watch for Soviet missiles flying over the Arctic. Even today, the U.S. operates a major military base there. So when President Trump first said in 2019 that he wanted to buy Greenland, many laughed. They thought it was a joke, a headline, a distraction. But now, years later, the laughter has stopped. Because this time, the language has changed. President Trump has repeatedly said that Greenland is critical to U.S. national security. He argues that if America doesn't control it, then rivals like China or Russia will. He has warned that the Arctic is opening up. Ice is melting. New shipping routes are forming. Resources once trapped under ice are becoming reachable. Rare earth minerals, oil, gas, critical materials needed for modern technology and weapons. In Trump's view, Greenland is not optional. It is necessary. And when asked whether military force could be used, his answers have been, carefully, unclear. That uncertainty is what alarms the world. Denmark's response has been firm. Greenland is not for sale. Not now. Not ever. Greenland's own leaders have spoken even more clearly. They say this land belongs to its people, not to Washington, not to Copenhagen, and certainly not to threats. For Greenlanders, this is not about geopolitics. It's about identity, self-determination, and survival. But their voices are being drowned out by something much louder: power. This dispute has placed NATO in a very uncomfortable position. Denmark is a NATO member. The United States is NATO's strongest military power. NATO was built on one promise: an attack on one is an attack on all. But what happens when the threat comes from inside the alliance? European leaders fear that aggressive pressure on Greenland could break trust inside NATO. And once trust breaks, alliances collapse. That is why this issue is far bigger than one island. It's about the rules of the world order itself. China and Russia are watching closely. China calls itself a near-Arctic state, even though it is thousands of miles away. It wants influence, access, resources. Russia already dominates much of the Arctic and has expanded military activity in the region. For both countries, a divided NATO is an opportunity. That's why Greenland has become a chessboard, and every move matters. Supporters of Trump argue that he is being realistic, that the Arctic is becoming the next battlefield, that America must act early or lose influence forever. Critics argue the opposite. They say international law is clear. Borders matter. Sovereignty matters. And no country has the right to pressure or threaten another over territory. They warn that normalizing this kind of behavior sets a dangerous precedent. Because if Greenland can be taken by force or pressure, what's next? At home, in the United States, even some lawmakers have pushed back. They warn that this could isolate America, damage long-standing alliances, and create conflicts where cooperation once existed. Others quietly support the idea, seeing Greenland as a strategic prize too valuable to ignore. The country itself appears divided, just like the world. So, where does this lead? No one knows. Right now, Greenland remains Danish territory. No borders have changed. No shots have been fired. But words matter. Threats matter. And history shows us something important. Big conflicts rarely start with bombs. They start with claims, pressure, and the belief that power gives permission. Greenland is frozen, but the tension around it is not. This island may look empty on a map, but it is full of meaning. It represents the future of the Arctic, the strength of alliances, and whether international law still matters in a world of rising power politics. The question is no longer whether Greenland is valuable. The question is this: will the world protect rules, or will it return to the age where the strong take what they want? Because what happens in Greenland will not stay in Greenland.